Well, it was meant to be the cruise of a lifetime for Sue and Gary, but it's left them with a $100,000 debt. Gary fell seriously ill and had to be airlifted off the ship. And to their horror, they've discovered their insurance won't cover them.
I didn't know whether I'd see Sue again.
Just sat in the cabin numb, I think. That was, and then I thought, what do I do now?
This was what was meant to be their dream Asia cruise. 26 days aboard the Sun Princess to celebrate their first year of retirement.
Looking forward to it a great deal. It was just something that I like doing, and, Asia's a nice place where we enjoy visiting there.
But just 5 days into the trip, Gary and Sue McGinty's holiday turned into a nightmare.
I took a couple of steps and realised that everything was just spinning.
The luxurious rooms of the cruise ship turned into an emergency room as Gary, a former pastor who'd been in good health, suddenly passed out.
I vomited heaps of blood and so it was out of the blue. Nothing, no warning, no nothing.
Sue immediately called the ship's hospital. She thought Gary may have had a stomach ulcer that burst.
A friend of ours, our sister's husband's best friend, same thing happened to him on a cruise to New Zealand, and he died. And so when this happened, I thought, no, can't be.
Yeah, I have to say that I didn't know whether I would see home again. I didn't know whether I'd see Sue again.
Gary was rushed to the ship's hospital. The captain and crew knew they had to get him off the ship.
They started putting things in place immediately.
But the ship was out at sea between ports. The closest rescue team in Indonesia didn't have a winch available to get Gary off the boat. The only option, to call in the Royal Singapore Air Force.
I hadn't really cried till then. I was numb, I guess, but when I saw that winch go up, that's when I started to cry.
As Gary was winched off, Sue had to stay on board.
There's no room in the helicopter, 6 crew and the stretcher, and yeah.
She had to wait 3 days before they reached Penang, where her son met her, and they rushed to Singapore to Gary's bedside, with doctors puzzled as to what caused the massive bleed.
They said it was consistent with a ruptured ulcer, but never found any ulcers. There was a small tear or a cut, and they, said that can be consistent with vomitings.
Gary spent 10 days in hospital recovering. He even got a visit from the Air Force crew that rescued him.
Where were you?
I was the one that winching her up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
When I saw you rescue him, I cried. Thank you.
So Gary, your rescue and recovery even made the newspapers over there.
Well, very surreal, yeah. Yeah, I didn't expect any of that.
But after surviving his at-sea ordeal, the McGintys are now in an insurance fight. Gary purchased the cruise tickets using his American Express credit card, which had travel insurance. But when Sue tried to claim while still on the boat, she was told otherwise.
She come back and said American Express won't cover you.
You see, Gary's card was due to expire just prior to the trip. He called American Express and says a staff member helped him find a new card with lower fees that he could roll over to. But American Express claims Gary cancelled his old card, therefore wiping his insurance.
Even if I had have cancelled the card, I paid for the holiday on the card, which I expected they would honour even without the card, because I thought it was a contract.
Gary claims he never cancelled the card and believes because the card expired, he should still be covered.
She never once said to me that the insurance, travel insurance you've got will not work, because I would have kept the card going.
One of the dangers of relying on complimentary travel insurance through your card is you often aren't aware of what you're covered for or what you can claim for.
Sophie Walsh, an insurance expert at Finder, says never assume you're covered with complimentary insurance via your credit card.
The best thing to do before you head off overseas is get in touch with your bank. It's always best to double check what you're covered for, and that will give you the peace of mind when you're travelling.
All up, the McGintys' costs are expected to top $100,000, including more than $70,000 for the air rescue.
Dudded, let down, disappointed in them.
But I knew that was the end of any further travel, and I would imagine it'll be up around $100,000. So that's a lot of money when you're retired and not millionaires.
Gary is now undergoing further testing to find out what happened. They hope American Express will honour the original policy he had in place.
I think it should be a warning to people to make sure that, they are covered properly, because I believed I was without any doubt, but according to American Express, I'm not.
Well, American Express maintains Gary did not hold an active American Express card with travel insurance at the time of his trip.